What's up, D-Gens? This week on SGPN, Sean and Ryan kick off their NFL previews, plus podcasts covering fantasy football preseason reactions, the UFC on ESPN, the NL Cy Young race, and the Northern Trust. All that and more exclusively on SGPN.
The college football experience, Virginia Tech Hokies season preview on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Colorado, Indiana, Michigan, New Jersey, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted parlays to in-game odds on every major sport, WynnBET has what you need to win. Sign up today to receive a $500 risk-free sports bet. Download the WynnBET app now or visit wynnbet.com. That's WYNN bet.com and start winning today. We're also brought to you by PropSwap, America's #1 app to buy and sell sports bets. Use the promo code SGP on your first deposit to receive up to $500 in bonus cash. That's PropSwap.com, promo code SGP. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com with promo code SGPN and receive a free $25 entry to use it in their Best Ball Mania 2 for a chance at $1 million. We're also brought to you by the SGPN app. Yes, don't forget to download the SGPN app in the App Store or Google Play Store today.
Hey, what's up, you degenerate gamblers? This is Bill Burr, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, baby.
Yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience, Virginia Tech Hokie season preview. My name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Don D. That's not a pick. This is a pick. Woo! And I'm joined. Had to call in the Godfather. All right. I am joined by Ryan Real Money Kramer of the Sports Gambling Podcast, Virginia Tech alum. How you doing, buddy?
Gobble gobble, bitches.
Yeah. Oh shit. I
know you have one.
You're
of those,
hitting
right?
me. You're hitting me right now. I'm unprepared on the gobble gobble front.
Gobble gobble.
That's it. I mean, gobble gobble, bitches.
And here we are.
Drunk chicks love to say that on campus in the early 2000s.
I can imagine.
Gobble gobble, bitches.
I spent some time down there. If someone was perhaps in some type of, I wish I could remember the names of the classes where I was actually editing audio. And it's hilarious because their voiceover actor, somehow he left. So for a couple episodes on these little videos they were showing the classmates,
it was
Colby's voice on this thing. So hey, good times, man. Good times. But Hokie football, is it good times? Ryan Real Money Kramer?
It's horrible. It's horrible right now.
But you look at last season, and I think you can put the asterisks there. I know you don't like Justin Fuente at the moment. He's recruiting very well at the moment.
You know what? I've told this story, but I haven't made a donation in a little while. Sending a message to the program.
Maybe they'll get that message, but if they're listening to this, so I think last year you got to throw out the window. You look at it that they had COVID issues. I make the argument that Kansas State and Minnesota specifically had so much COVID problems that you can't even honor last season.
Yeah, but you like the other two coaches at least.
That's true. But if you look at it, he's made a bowl game every year he's been there, with the exception of last year.
He's ruined a lot of things, right? He's ruined the bowl streak. Thanks for bringing it up. He's ruined the fact
that
they
had COVID.
When I was a kid, back in my day, we could follow guys through 4 years. Frank Beamer never had kids transferring with a starting job.
But I mean, this is the transfer era.
I understand that. Yeah. And look, at the end of the day, maybe I'm wrong about Justin Fuente. Everything else Babcock is doing over there, Virginia Tech is right. The basketball program is on a great trajectory. If you're a coach and you're asking guys to be committed, and you yourself are not committed, I have a problem with that. Now, perhaps they're going to wow me this year, and we'll talk about this. But maybe they actually remember how to play a little defense, and the offense comes back, and the schedule breaks the right way. But I feel like I'm in a little bit in a similar situation where my Giants do well this year, and Gettleman gives Barkley a big contract. That's not necessarily the best long-term strategy. If Fuente goes 8-4 this year,
if they win the Coastal,
and they accidentally win the Coastal, that's not necessarily the best. Or maybe he leaves though. I've actually talked myself into the success leave version of Fuente. He does well and then leaves anyway.
But if you look at these seasons, 10 I understand the biggest argument that I agree with people that are unhappy with Fuente is his recruiting in the state of Virginia. But currently that class is looking pretty decent, but 10-4 out the gate, 9-4 the second year, 6-7 the third year. That's the one you want to circle probably. Then his fourth year, 8-5. Last year, 5-6, and they don't play in a bowl. But like I said, I think you got to throw out last year. You look at this team. Yes, transfers have affected this team. It seems like every year. They return. It says it's funny if you look at like publications, they'll be like they return 6 offensively. They actually have a lot more. Braxton Burmeister got a lot of burn last year. Same with a lot of these guys got burned because of the situation. So I think there's potential when you look at this and say more so than any other year when you're sitting there trying to value returning starters or not. I think it's kind of an outlier last year, and you say, well, a lot of these guys got burned. So you look at this offense, it was 43rd, the 43rd scoring offense in the country, 10th rushing the ball in the country. You got to like that. 89th passing, 31st overall. That might have been Hendon Hooker, maybe it was Burmeister. I don't know, but they got to be able to throw the ball better.
Yeah, I don't know if Burmeister is again. I want to know why Hooker left. I want to understand what is going to Tennessee because it's in the SEC that big of a draw that you walk away from a starting job in the ACC. Like, what else is rotten in this program? I mean, you've watched Burmeister play. Are you like this guy can like he has another level? I think we've seen every gear he has to show us, and it's frantic and it looks like an injury waiting to happen.
Look, he was just a sophomore season ago. Look, he's completed the ball 57% of the time.
You're so optimistic.
You know, I just think you got to give the guy a break. Yes, I understand that. Were you one like Patty C that thought Hendon Hooker was your guy?
I thought I didn't understand. Like he was finally going to be like this year, right? This year was kind of a mess, but he seemed like he was always the choice of Fuente as well. Just the way that they were played, the way that he seemed to favor him, the way that it always seemed to be about Hendon Hooker. So again, like I don't know what went down, but I don't think this is plan A for Fuente. Yeah. So that's always concerning when you're coming into a season. And yeah, you are. Look, he has recruited well, and it was fun when in the beginning when it was like, ooh, Texas, right? Like it's like going to college. You start seeing a different brand of girl, and you're like, oh, this is interesting. I like it here. But then next thing you know, he's recruiting these guys from Texas, but he's like we're losing the guys in state. We're losing the talent that Beamer and crew used to hold down. And at the end of the day, like, where are those guys going now? They're going to big programs in the SEC. And so, yeah, I think Burmeister, maybe he's the guy. He's probably a backup.
He was originally going to Oregon. You know that, right?
I understand. They also have to replace the running of Herbert, and that may be a problem too, because Fuente's offenses have looked like shit when he doesn't get effective running.
I got to hit on this. They're currently the 14th best class in the nation right now.
I good. You want to draw me in?
I'm just saying. Look, I look at this and I'm
fiddle with my emotions.
I'm seeing 4-star Gunnar Givens, offensive lineman, Virginia, 4-star running back Raymond Brown, Virginia, then a bunch of 3-stars. But yes, I see Virginia's out there, but getting 2 4-stars from Virginia is pretty big. I don't know. I just think you got to give the guy a little more time, considering last year, considering Bud Foster being gone, Justin Hamilton in there defensively. But yes, obviously Khalil Herbert leaving for the NFL early, that hurt. But I think these guys all got burned a season ago. They all got burned, and I think Give the guy some time. Give the guy a little bit of time. It's tough taking over for a legend.
No, I get it. You don't want to be the guy after the guy. I just think that again, this is less about the football team and more about how he's handled himself. He's been, I don't know. Would you want to play for Justin Fuente?
Sure.
No.
Why not?
No, you wouldn't.
How about your tight end James Mitchell? This guy's a stud. You're bringing back 3 of 5 on the offensive line, but one of the other guys got starts a season ago, so basically 4 of 5. James Mitchell back at tight end. This guy's got NFL talent written all over him.
I mean, not to mention Trey Turner. I think the version of this offense that's good is that Burmeister develops a little bit as a passer and takes advantage of these guys. Like as you point out, I think is Mitchell mostly getting some first team love at the tight end position. I feel like Steele might have put him in his
and some NFL radar.
I think Trey Turner's probably a guy that is very draftable. I don't know if he decides to come out too, but again, I think the offense is good if they are able to pass the ball because they have these athletes. But again, they need to be able to run the ball.
Well, Khalil Herbert came over from Kansas. Well, Raheem Blackshear comes over from Rutgers.
We rescued him from Kansas.
and Blackshear was a solid player at Rutgers, so I could totally see him working out in Blacksburg. Defensively, now this is the one where I think last year was such an outlier. I think I believe Bud Foster, when we had Bud Foster on the show and he said Justin Hamilton will be fine. I'm sure what he did not imagine was that 30 or 40 players multiple times would be out with COVID, including
I
Hamilton himself.
They did a great job playing through the pain. I'll say that about that. The way that they played, the way that they took care of their business. It is there were, to your earlier point, there weren't many programs that were willing to play. Like some schools, the second they got near a threshold, they're like, oh.
Yeah, we have 4 players out. Cancel the game. Cancel the game.
Oh, is it a hard game? We might lose.
But I think Hamilton's actually going to be a good DC. Got to give him time, but he returns 6 defensively. Once again, I feel like that's almost a little bit of an outlier considering who has played and who hasn't. But I can tell you one thing that they did do that I think could be impactful right away is they went out and got defensive tackle Jordan Williams from Clemson. This guy started 38 games over the past 4 years for Clemson, 55 tackles, 4 sacks. I mean, this was an all ACC lineman. This is a huge get for this defense. You mix him in with your 2 other returning starters on that D line, or 3 other returning starters on the D line. You're bringing back 2 of 3 in the linebacking core. Secondary is the only thing that's untested, but if there's one thing we know about Virginia Tech football, normally the secondary's fine.
DBU. It should be. I mean, again, it's hard to trust what's going on with the program, but the narrative that you tell yourself if they're going to have a good year is that, I mean, I've heard it now a couple times, both on other Hokie podcasts and more national stuff, but like, the defense was such a mess. They were encouraging teams. They were letting teams run against them because that was better than getting shredded through the air. And again, we talk about it on the Sports Gambling Podcast, but that moment where a true walk-on gets an interception in a game and the entire team celebrates, like that both gives me hope for the program, but also like highlights how bad it was last year. So back to the version that's good is that just by not having the chaos and some of these guys stepping in, that they're going to be able to be, they immediately go back to being mediocre. And if they can just be mediocre and the offense be, good, now we're talking about a team that if they start the season well, they can compete for the Coastal because the Coastal's always a shit at.
Yeah. I mean, it's a shit show, but at the same time, the defense was 82nd last year. But I really think throw all that out. They're normally not charting at 103 in total yardage or 107th against the pass.
But they've not been as good of late. That's fair.
Yeah, but never that bad though. Yeah. I mean, that's a complete outlier.
I mean, they had a first round pick opt out. Things happened. Things happened.
Let's get to the schedule here and the win total. Vegas saying 7.5. Let me ask you this before we dive into these games. What gets Justin Fuente fired? If he goes 7-5, you think he's fired?
He's just not a popular guy.
If he goes 8-4, do you want him back next year?
I think the win total is probably the fire line. I think the season could start poorly and things could get adjusted. By sticking with him, I don't think they're going to just fire him. I think like I said, I think Babcock in some way believes in him. I do know they re-signed a lot of coaches this year. They didn't re-sign him.
Justin Hamilton went out and tweeted to defend him.
I mean, that's got to mean something, right?
Yeah.
Like, so look, maybe he's the guy they went and got all those years ago, but I do think if he misses a bowl, he's definitely fired.
Yeah. I agree there.
If the
7-5 is the one that I think, or 6-6, he's probably fired.
Well,
right?
Let's get to the schedule because I think it has unwind potential. I think it has complete unwind.
We're gonna get to the schedule, but first, this is the Virginia Tech Hokies. Michael Vick, Jim Drunkenmiller, Tyrod Taylor, just pumping out quarterbacks to the league. All right, I'll even quote Al Clark from Maurice DeShazo. All right, Bruce Smith. How many great players? D'Angelo Hall. What did Bud Foster say? Vince Hall, one of his all-time favorites. Is that what I think he said?
Vince Hall, Xavier DB.
There we go. Just this is a strong pedigree. This is a
linebackers and DB, baby.
All right. So that win total sitting at 7.5 as the Dundee music fades out. I think the schedule is actually pretty damn good for you guys. If you look, you only leave Blacksburg once in the first since only one time and all the way to October 23rd.
It's a dangerous trip though. You got to listen for those banjos, watch it, sleep on your back, if you know what I mean.
It's true. But look, opening Friday night, ESPN, September 3rd, you're getting North Carolina. And I would argue that this is the best time to catch North Carolina for sure. You got to love that spot.
What time does this game start?
Over here will be 3 p.m.
Oh, perfect.
6 p.m. on the East.
I was going to say, how do I explain to a team full of youth soccer kids that I won't be coming to practice because I got something to do? Look, this is exactly what you want. Fuente has this team ready to go every year to start the season. Every year. So if there's ever a time they're going to get up, they're going to sneak attack, and they're going to take out a team like North Carolina.
And they played North Carolina well last year with 35 players out and Hamilton out, their DC and other coaches. But
the crowd will be in it because the season hasn't gone away yet.
Think about that. They didn't have fans last year. This place is going to be lit. North Carolina replacing their top 2 running backs, their top 2 wideouts, their best defensive player. I think it's a great opportunity for an upset. I kind of like Virginia Tech as an upset there.
What's the number? Do you have it in front of you?
I don't have it in front of me, but
I'll pull it up.
I think it was I think it was like 4 maybe. I remember doing. We did it on. Check out the week 1 pod.
You've already covered the week 1 spreads.
Yeah, okay. Week 1 spreads. It's out there. Check it out.
But if they to me, I think a lot hinges on this game. North Carolina's laying 3.5.
Yeah,
on the
so
road.
I was right on. It was 4. I think before.
You know that feels a little disrespectful. Even the basketball team has struggled in Castle Coliseum before. Look, if they win this game, as you mentioned, right, the schedule softens, and they could potentially get to that bye week 4-0 at West Virginia. A lot of question marks there. I think, to me, if North Carolina goes well, West Virginia can still go poorly, and the season doesn't go off the rails.
I agree.
But if North Carolina goes poorly, and then West Virginia also goes poorly, they're going to be coming out of the bye 2-2 with a home game against Notre Dame.
Yeah, and Notre Dame will be coming off of Cincinnati and Cincinnati and Wisconsin, I believe. So you catch Notre Dame at a great spot. You're prepping for them for 2 weeks essentially. I think you can beat Notre Dame in that spot, especially because I think Notre Dame, if they get through Wisconsin and Cincinnati, which I think they will, but I think those are tough games. They're going to sigh. They're going to sigh in relief, and then they realize they got to go to Blacksburg. So I think it's a dangerous spot.
It's a sandwich spot because they have USC on deck too, or they have a bye week.
They have a bye before USC, but I just think they get through Wisconsin and Cincinnati. They sigh. They go in the lane, catch an L. Could totally see that happening. So I actually think there's a great scenario for them to go. 4-1.
Is Notre Dame a better team without Ian Book? That could be. He was
Jack Cohn coming in.
He was hot trash. So again, like if the season's gone well to this point, they're probably at worst 4-1. I think is what you just said.
Yeah,
maybe 3-2. Again, I think so much hinges on that stretch now, because if they lose Notre Dame, then they get Pittsburgh at home.
That is tricky. That's a tricky
spot
game.
where it's like, oh, they just, the season is going from bad to worse. Now they're going to drop this game to fucking Narduzzi and Pittsburgh.
You think they beat Pitt?
Again, if they've beaten North Carolina and they've beaten West Virginia and they've played Notre Dame close, maybe it's a win. Maybe, who knows? Maybe they're undefeated at this point.
Well, they could. That's what I'm saying. This schedule breaks nice. Where they catch North Carolina, if they can pull that upset, which I think they can, I think they lose at West Virginia, but I still think that's like a 7-point. That's a 1-score game. And then they beat Middle Tennessee. They beat Richmond. They get a bye week. I think there's a great chance for an opportunity to beat Notre Dame there. Now they could lose that, obviously, and then the game with Pitt after. I'll say this: if they beat Notre Dame, I think Pitt bites them the next week because they're going to be smelling their own shit.
That's and again, that's a Fuente problem, right? I don't know at this. My confidence in Fuente still being a good coach at this point in the season is pretty low, at least to project. So I think Pittsburgh's a sneaky game. It's homecoming. I think they could be 6-0 at this point, and or 5-0 and lose that game.
Yeah,
I think they could also be doing poorly and lose that game. I certainly don't. I like it better than at Pittsburgh, but where it is on the schedule with Syracuse on deck, and honestly, like if the schedule is going well, I almost don't mind that as a loss, because then you have Syracuse at Georgia Tech, at Boston College, a team they generally do well against, and then Duke. And so
I'll say you split Notre Dame Pitt. So I got you guys 3-1 out the gate, then 1-1 there. So 4-2 essentially. Then you're home to Syracuse.
That's a win.
I got you beating Syracuse. That's 5-2 at Georgia Tech. I got that as a win. 6-2.
Georgia Tech likes to pretend there's a rivalry there. Not yet. They're not back yet. This will be an ass beat.
Yeah, 6-2 Virginia Tech. Now this is the slippery one to me. Second half of a back-to-back away stretch, shortened week on November 5th. You go up to Chestnut Hill, and take on Boston College, where I feel like this is just a
have you ever seen a game in that stadium?
No.
You want to talk about the opposite of a great college football environment?
But that's why they can pull the upset. Right?
You're literally
teams aren't looking forward to
tailgating
that,
in like parking garages, like open, but like you're on like it's just not college football, and it's a night game. It probably will be cold. That's the advantage, I think. So yeah, do I have confidence Fuente will have this team ready? I don't know. But I also don't know if Boston College is going to be a great team. So
yeah, I think it's kind of a 50-50 game. I think it's one you circle if you're a Virginia Tech fan for like, hey, if we get through this, which I'm going to go ahead and give it to Virginia Tech, right?
Okay.
I'm going to give it that one to Virginia Tech. Then they're home to Duke, which actually Cutcliffe plays you guys well. Cutcliffe plays you well.
That's true, but they've been. I wouldn't say there's an us, and they're pretty bad. They're pretty bad.
Last year was a 7-point game. I know you had players out. But the year before, Duke.
You told me to take nothing from last year, Colby.
I know, but the year before, Duke won in 19. So I think, but I still got you beating Duke.
They're not. I mean, it is a bad. It's a tough spot because again, if things are going well, it's like relax. We come home and then we have 2 more road games. Well, specifically Miami coming up.
Yeah, two. By the way, like starting October 30th, you have 2 different sets of back-to-back away games. That's more than Alabama's done in 6 years. In 1 month. Think about that. More than Clemson's done in 6 years, and you've done it in 1 month. At Miami, how do you feel about this one?
Honestly,
you won the last time you played Miami at Miami in a wild one. One you guys were up like 31-3. They came back, tied it up, and then then you went down and scored, grabbed the win.
But Miami's never been the scariest. Miami as a team, even all the way back to when I was in school, we played them tight. We always played them tight, especially when they were supposed to be really good. And this season, to me, is now. Would I rather have Miami early before King's back and healthy? I don't know if he's going to be back and healthy.
They keep saying that now that he will, but
December,
I don't know.
He got hurt. That just
late December too, dude.
And so I like him better earlier than late. So I don't love getting him here, but. You know, it's not a weather game. It's Miami. It's Miami around the holidays. You think anyone like Thanksgiving is it's the week before Thanksgiving, right? It's the Saturday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, November 20th.
No one's come on.
And
Come
then,
on.
Well, here's the sneaky part though. Is the following one?
Or do we think Miami's going to be good? That's the question.
I think that's a winnable game. I'm not high on Miami. I think this is a winnable game. I think this will go right there with BC as 50-50. Maybe I give a slight edge to Miami, whereas opposed to giving you guys a slight edge against BC. At Virginia though, to end the season, this is the one. I'll put it like this. I basically have you guys as an 8-4 team. I think they're a great value play in the Coastal.
What's the total? 7.5.
7.5 is the total. I think this is an 8-4 team. I really do. Like even, I think they're going to either beat North Carolina or Notre Dame, and there's a chance they could beat them both because they get them in Blacksburg. When you look at the road trips at West Virginia, yes, that's dangerous. I expect you to lose that one.
Yeah, I think it's 6-point line right now on that one.
But the other ones at Georgia Tech, that doesn't mean anything to me. At Boston College, snooze fest because there's no fans. Then at Miami, once again, this is another one where I don't feel like they have a nice home field advantage. And then the Virginia one, obviously there will be crowd, but I don't know
if they can go through at West Virginia, at Boston College, at Miami. I'm taking the Georgia Tech road game out of it, but if they can go through their road games with only 2 losses,
I think there's a great chance at that.
Now,
there's a great chance.
I think if they get to a 3rd loss, then I'm worried because I don't. Again, Notre Dame and North Carolina, those games, they're going to be underdogs.
I got you going 1-1 though.
So you're saying 1-1 in those games, 2-2 on the road game, or 3-2 on the road game.
Even if you lost, if you essentially lost at West Virginia.
Look, I want to be optimistic. I just every year the Justin Fuente experience just seems like it's sliding down the hill, right?
8-4 or 9-3, they win the Coastal. I'm telling you, North Carolina. Because here's another angle of why that North Carolina game's great.
Well,
they'll have the tiebreaker.
Yeah. And then that Miami game. Well, then you can, what's going to happen in true Coastal fashion. You'll have, Miami beats North Carolina, or Tech beats North Carolina beats Miami, and Miami beats Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
It'll be something like that. They'll all have an additional conference loss somewhere where they slip up.
Yeah, and I mean, but gun to your head, I know you're a Hokie fan.
I mean, 8-1's pretty crazy. I do, and just in general, anecdotally, Virginia Tech performs at their peak when they're not supposed to. They not since Tyrod Taylor was the last guy who could actually live up to expectations. Or at least the last version of the team. And I think ever since then, it's been, when expectations are down, they tend to pop their head up. Whenever people are picking them to be to win the Coastal, it turns out horribly. So we'll see. And
you're on the over on 7.5 too, right?
Oh, I mean, of course, it's plus 120. I was looking at the odds too. It's plus 125.
I like it. I like it, man.
I mean, I think you could do worse things than put an 8-1 ticket on the Hokies to win the Coastal. I think you're crazy to do anything further than that. Don't bet on them to win the conference.
Yeah, they could win the Coastal, and then you never know. I mean, they played Clemson surprisingly the best out of the teams that did win the Coastal.
Look, I will. Here's what will make me happy: if the team is playing well, and they're not no midseason people just start mysteriously sitting out who end up transferring. None of that shit. And really it comes down to Hamilton, right? If Hamilton, if this defense turns around and they can be at least close to what they used to be,
watch out.
The problem is that Burmeister, man, I can't.
He can do it. He can do it. North Carolina's defense is soft too. You never know. I don't know. I'm on the over. I think it's a solid play. I advise my clients to take the over here.
Yeah. Good luck. Look, I'll probably have a wager or two. I may already have a wager on them.
There you go. Well, you just do that anyway, right?
Well, you are talking me into the one thing that I find appealing is that I don't over 7.5 to me is less fun than 8-1. Because if they go over 7.5, what are the chances they're not winning the Coastal?
I mean, actually, they have a strong chance that they're winning the Coastal. Yeah,
that's my. So if they go 8-4, 9-3, if they go 9-3, they've probably won the Coastal, right?
Definitely.
Do we think
in
that's
the Coastal? Definitely.
Do we think North Carolina can run the table?
No, not at all.
And
not at all.
Miami, we're not very high on. So yeah, let's go over. Sprinkle the 8-1.
Okay, and if Fuente goes 7-5, is he there next year?
No, hopefully not.
Okay,
You can't go. I'll say you gotta. Here's what I'll go further. If he goes 7-5 and one of those 5 is at Virginia, get him the fuck out of here.
You heard it here first.
Better luck next year.
You know how many times I had to suffer through a loss to UVA over the last 20 years before Fuente? 0 times.
Wow.
You know how many times I had to suffer through it with Fuente? Already once.
Yeah, almost twice. All right, folks. Well, if you're a first time listener to the College Football Experience, make sure you subscribe. We're breaking down all 130 college football teams with a solo podcast for each and every team in the FBS and some of the FCS. We will have you covered on the College Football Experience. And also make sure you subscribe to the College Basketball Experience, because the Hokies, my Hokies, I want to say, with them, they're looking great, and I think they could be a sleeper to win the ACC this year. Okay, so go subscribe to the College Basketball Experience. We talk college basketball year round over there. We talk college football year round over here. Subscribe to both. Tell a friend. Me, Patty C, NC Nick. We've handicapped every single Division I football and basketball game for the past 4 years. Never had a losing season as a collective, but also independently, just flexing, Kramer.
What do we call that? The Dant plus Patty C collective?
Yeah, man. It's the three amigos, man. Right? Can I still say amigos in 2020?
I like the collective usage.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah, I like that. And look, we're also way over 500 on our locks. We give you all that on the SGPN app, which is free to download. All of our picks are free. And then the app is free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. So go grab that thing. Not only will you get our picks in the College Football Experience podcast, you're also going to get the Sports Gambling Podcast.
Oh, National Football League.
Yes.
How about that?
Yes. I mean, you're going to have everything covered. Didn't we just have like a Frisbee article drop?
We're covering the Ultimate Disc League. Yeah. So that's happening.
Anything you want, we got it covered. Episodes with Phil Steele, he was on. He was talking good about the Hokies this year.
Randy Cross.
Yeah, just you'll get all of that on the SGPN. What do we give away? $1,000 NBA Finals. We're giving away. What was it? I
mean, you're gonna want to get the app because your free chance to win. Let's just say 6 figures.
That's
coming
what I'm
soon,
talking
week
about.
1 NFL. So stay listening.
Stay listening. Go grab that app, and when you grab that app, make sure you give us an app review. Give us 5 stars. Say some nice things about us, and if you do, take a screenshot. Find me on Twitter at @TheColbyD. Show me that screenshot. Give me a follow, and I'll send you a College Experience T-shirt, brand new. Not from a yard sale.
Not used.
All right.
Not Patty. Can we get a Patty C pre-worn one? Is that an option?
You're taking a hell of a gamble. I know this is a gambling podcast. You're taking a hell of a gamble grabbing a Patty C T-shirt. I don't know what the hell will be on that thing, but if you really want
pre-shrunk or pre-worn by Patty C, which option do you want?
If you really want one, hit me up. Hit up Patty C at Patty C831 on Twitter. Yes, I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. Kramer. Ryan Real Money Kramer on Twitter at KramerCentric.
Also on TikTok now at KramerCentric. Stay tuned, baby.
That's a grown man with daughters. That's what that means. All right. Also check out on Twitter. NC Nick is on Twitter at NC_NICK. The College Football Experience, new to Twitter at TCE on SGPN. That's also on Instagram. And the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is on Twitter at the SGP Network. Just follow. Have a following frenzy.
Yeah, follow everything.
And check out. Hey, sometimes work will block you from a lot of fun. You got to do the old quarterback bootleg.
Yeah.
Slack. Grab the Slack app. Sports Gambling Podcast.
It looks like work.
Yeah, exactly. Well, work will block you from a lot of fun. You'll be able to talk sports and
so much
hang out. Yeah.
Guys are sharing NFL preseason head coaching records, spreadsheets. Looks like work.
Yeah,
graphs,
that's what I'm saying.
Looks like work.
Boss, I'll have that. See, I've been working on it for hours. I'll have that right over to you. So check out the Slack channel, Sports Gambling Podcast. All right, folks. We're both on the over and the Hokies.
Yeah, of course.
Let me just cue up this.
Gobble, gobble.
All right, this is the College Football Experience, Virginia Tech Hokie style. You better start thinking about yours. And we got it.